Let's talk about Joe Biden. So in this report from the Daily Mail, they mentioned that the Supreme Court has voted 6-3 to block Biden's vaccine mandates. However, a disappointed Joe will tell businesses to adopt the rules anyway and says it's up to states to do the right thing. Biden has urged businesses to bring in vaccine mandates on their own and push states to do the right thing after the Supreme Court voted 6-3 to block his sweeping rules on private companies in a crushing blow to his pandemic response. The High Court did, however, allow a vaccine mandate for employees at healthcare facilities receiving federal dollars to go into effect. Now, there's an important distinction here. Joe Biden is saying ignore the Supreme Court in a certain sense, but the Supreme Court did not rule that vaccine mandates are completely illegal. The Supreme Court ruled that Joe Biden doesn't have the authority through OSHA to mandate businesses require vaccinations. So Joe Biden comes out and says, then it's up to you guys to implement these because I can't force you to do it. Now you know what I think is going to happen? I think the blue states and I think all the big companies are going to do it anyway. Mm-hmm. If fortunately, though, it means, I guess, like the Daily Wire won't have to.
Well, they're going to try to do it. But there's also a very interesting article also from the Daily Mail talking about how a lot of the cases are flatlining in a lot of these major Democratic states. And if this goes along with the theory that I've been talking about and many other medical professionals have been talking about for a few weeks now, there should be a sharp decline in the numbers, just like we have seen in South Africa. I might be wrong on that assessment and that theory, but if that's the case, they're going to have a hard justification for more lockdowns, more mandates. And I think this is their kind of last push. And I think this is a major setback against their agenda. And I don't see it going further from here from my perspective.
It's kind of a dilemma for businesses because on the one hand, they're dealing with employees, some of whom are Karens, right? They want that vaccine mandate and they want double masking and they're scared to death. But there's other employees that say, I'm not going to do it and you're going to lose me. And those may well be some of their most important employees. But you have the chief executive officer of the United States saying, I got an offer for you that you can't refuse. And if you say no, I'm going to send some of these agencies to check out your stuff and make sure that you're in full compliance with OSHA, full compliance with this. There are so many rules and regulations that every company in America is surely violating right now because they couldn't possibly know what they are. Biden still has the ability to make their lives hell. And what I think a lot of the big corporations wanted was the cover of being forced to do it by the government. And now they're stuck in this place and they're going to discover that they're going to lose a lot of their talent if they push forward.
I got to tell you, I can certainly sympathize and empathize with a lot of these businesses because there are people who won't admit when they get sick because they're like, no, I'm not sick. Everything's fine. And then they'll come into work and they'll get people sick. You also have managers who are like, I don't care if you're sick. I don't want my boss yelling at me. You better show up for work. And so then you have these, executives who are like, how do we stop people from doing this? And they're like, well, we can mandate a vaccine, I guess. I'm not convinced vaccine mandates are going to solve the problem. So, ultimately I can empathize with the problem of people spreading COVID and then your company gets shut down. I get it. We had to, take off for a week because we got sick and I can see why people are worried about that. But I think we have to realize we're living with this.
Yeah, well, you've got to define the problem. What's the problem today? Overloading the hospitals? That was the problem 2.5 years ago. We didn't want to overload the problem. So how do we solve that? Obviously, the vaccine may reduce symptoms, but it doesn't seem to stop the spread, doesn't seem to stop people from getting it. I think people are going to the hospital after they've been vaccinated. So you're looking to solve the problem. That solution didn't seem to solve it.
Well, that's a good question. What's the problem?
I don't think there really is one anymore.
Labor shortages, supply chain problems, financial.
But no, that's a great point because that's not COVID related anymore.
Yeah, and then why is the AP telling them not to report on single case record increases in certain states? What was that all about? Because it seems like they're shifting the narrative from, oh my gosh, so many people are getting COVID to being more like, well, it's still a problem. We still have to worry about it, but we also have a midterm to win or something. I'm not sure what the strategy is there. So what was the deal with their decision to say you can't talk about these increases, these sharp increases? You don't remember?
They're looking for an exit strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they've been scaring the crap out of people for 2 years now. And there is no problem. There's certainly not a problem that we can do anything about at this point. I mean, I think we've created a lot of collateral damage. And remember, the original COVID models said, if you're going to flatten the curve, you're going to push out the pandemic. And that was always part of the model. And here we are 2 years into it. And this is an extraordinary virus in its behavior. And I think that all of these central planners who thought they knew better are culpable. So they need an exit strategy. And if we can just tone down the hysteria on the data, maybe we can get out of this before the midterm. I think it's very much, it's got to be political.